For today, August the 12th, 2026. Now, the federal government is targeting up to $50 billion in new investment in Nigeria's deep offshore oil and gas sector, beginning with approximately $10 billion Bonga Southwest project. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu announced the development in a statement posted on his official X account, saying the new framework is designed to provide greater certainty for investors and unlock major offshore projects that have remained stalled. The policy established through the Deep Offshore Oil and Gas Project Incentives Tax Remission Order 2026 replaces project by project negotiation with a broader rules-based investment framework. And the first major project targeted under the framework is the Bonga Southwest development, estimated at about $10 billion. The government says the new framework is expected to improve Nigeria's competitiveness in attracting long-term capital into the offshore sector, while allowing NNPCL to make the necessary amendment to eligible production sharing contracts. The presidency says qualifying projects will prioritize activities within Nigeria where commercially and technically feasible, covering areas such as engineering, fabrication, marine logistics, and technical services. The objective is to increase investment and production while strengthening local supply chains, creating skilled jobs, and positioning Nigeria as a regional hub for deep offshore project execution. And Nigeria is pushing for more investment in petroleum refining now as West African regulators seek to establish a more integrated market for refined product and a regional benchmark for fuel prices. The development comes as Nigeria refinery capacity expands and the country looks to play a larger role in supplying petroleum products to neighboring markets. Now, the federal government says additional investment remains necessary despite the emergence of the 650,000 barrel per day Dangote refinery. Speaking at the West African Refined Fuel Market Conference in Abuja, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, that's Henikin Lokobiri, he says Nigeria needs more refinery capacity to meet domestic demand and strengthen its position in the regional petroleum market.
Energy resources in Nigeria. It's the best time for us to attract as many investments as we can, not just into the upstream, but into the midstream and then the down.
And for the petroleum regulator, increasing production is only part of the challenge. NMDPRA Chief Executive Rabiu Umar is also calling for stronger infrastructure, transparent market information, and a regional pricing system that reflects supply, demand, and logistics within West Africa. The objective is to reduce the region's dependence on external benchmark and strengthen Africa's influence over the value of its own refined petroleum products.
Mission to investors is not simply to finance isolated assets. It is to participate in building a regional energy market architecture. Our invitation to financial institutions is also to develop instruments that are capable of supporting long tenure infrastructure and trade. Our invitation to operators is to bring projects that are commercially disciplined and operationally efficient.
For Nigeria, the opportunity extends beyond meeting local fuel demand. A stronger refinery industry and regional trading system could create a new export opportunities, attract investment into petroleum infrastructure, and strengthen the country's position as a refining hub for West Africa. Nigeria's banking sector is being urged to direct more of the fresh capital raised through the recent recapitalization exercise into micro, small, and medium-sized businesses as changing market conditions force lenders to rethink where they deploy their funds. The Chartered Institute of Bankers for Bankers of Nigeria says MSMEs could provide an important avenue for productive lending at a time where some traditional investment opportunities are becoming less attractive. Pushing towards the MSME, CIBN says declining yields on government securities and thinner margins on lending to major corporate borrowers are changing the economics of banking. The institute says lenders can no longer depend heavily on government securities and a limited pool of top-tier companies to absorb their capital, and should look further down the economic chain to businesses that have historically had limited access to formal credit. The timing is significant for Nigeria's small business sector. Many MSMEs require financing to expand production, purchase equipment, and maintain operation, but often struggle to meet the financial and governance requirement demanded by commercial banks. Now, CIBN says the sector's financing challenge is therefore not only about the availability of funds, but also about preparing businesses to qualify for those funds. And for the wider economy, the argument goes beyond individual loans. Greater access to finance could allow smaller businesses to expand, employ more workers, and increase productive activity across local supply chains. CIBN says the financial service industry will be central to Nigeria's ambition of building a $1 trillion economy, making the deployment of bank capital an important part of that growth strategy.